Glad to hear it.
Getting there. Getting
Looking forward to fall,
fall. What is fall?
like autumn.
Winter? Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, so I'm not used to your jingle over in America. Not yet, anyway. Good evening, all. Good evening. Right. I think I'm sorry. I'm just kind of like out of sleep here. I don't know why, but anyway.
I have a
Good
tendency to do
evening.
that to people.
I'm just kind of like out of sleep. I don't know what's wrong with me. Anyway. Good evening. Good evening. Tonight I want to talk. Sorry, I've got Warren here, and he never knows what we're going to talk about. Do you, Warren?
Nope.
Never.
No, that's okay. It
No,
works
he
out well
never
for
knows.
me.
Yeah, it works out well for him. Yeah. So what we're going to do? We're going to talk tonight about is it when is it time to say to our children they must leave home?
Oh,
Okay.
you always pick the tough ones, hey?
Oh yes, but it's always kind of like, well, I'll pick a list, and I thought I'll go eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and I answer that one. But the next one is going to be really, really good. The next one,
Awesome.
yeah, really good. So that's what the topic is today. So please contact me, and when is it the best time anyway for any children to kind of like leave home or not leave home, because
Yeah.
so especially girls, they don't leave home until they probably get married or something.
Yeah, I
We
mean,
talked, we
maybe. I
talked.
I don't know if that's the trend in North America anymore. I think that a lot of kids and girls included leave home at a much earlier age. It depends, I think, if they're going off to university or not. Going to university or
Oh
college,
yeah, yeah,
however you want to put it, is a great transition period for a lot of kids. It gives them the experience of being an adult while still having an environment where there's a support network around them to keep them safe and sane, right? Going out immediately, like graduating high school, 18 years old, out and doing, moving into your own place or with a boyfriend or with friends or whatever it may be, can be a little scary, both for the child and for the parent. Um, that's why,
yeah.
university residence is
Trouble
a
is,
really nice kind of buffer for a year or two or three or four.
trouble is, so we're always on parents. They're always on textbooks because when they're 16, 15, 16 or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
parents go to them, right? What you going to do? Right? I want you to go to university. This is from the parent side. I want you to go
Mm-hmm.
to university or college or whatever it is, and the child says, no, 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 I don't want to go to those. I want to be here. But the trouble is, when they're at that age, they don't get a look in really, like because the parents are still kind of like controlling them and saying, you must go to college.
I would agree. Some parents are definitely like that. I think in our house, what we have said to our girls, and we'll repeat as they're teenagers, that kind of thing, is that college is an option. Um, but that college and university, getting a general education there is really about making you a better citizen. It's not necessarily about
Yeah.
giving you the skills for your next job. Some aspects of college and university are that way, right? They're highly technical, they're really practical in their usage, that sort of thing, going to become a doctor, accounting, marketing, science disciplines, those sorts of things. They are very, very practical in their application. And whereas a general arts degree, learning English and political science and sociology and those sorts of things, may give you the things that you need to get a job in those areas, but it's more about being a good general citizen than it is about getting the practical application for a real world profession. I think that's where a lot of trade schools are actually failing, where an area where they could improve is by implementing some of that general citizenry advanced education into their program. I would also tell my girls
work experience or something.
I mean, I wish arts diplomas and stuff had more of that. What I'm saying is that trade schools, like learning to become a plumber, learning to become an electrician, metalworking, these sorts of things. I think that if they were to add a bit more of, and I realize that we've gone completely off on a tangent versus your original question, but I think that by adding a bit more of those general citizenry type things, like how to understand a legal contract, how to look at the movement of peoples around the world, how to understand how the disenfranchisement of a population leads to greater political strife later on, and all these socioeconomic divides, and these topics that are really affecting how we as a society operate now. But anyways, education aside, what we are doing with our kids is making sure that they understand that if they go to school, they can stay at home. If they are working, they can stay at home, right? But that we would eventually like them to go out and experience things on their own. I'm not one to say to my girls, like, you go to university or nothing, because I took some time off as well. I did a couple years of university, then I went and backpacked through Europe. And then I came home, worked for 9 months, and realized that I needed to finish my university degree. Taking that time off helped me. And I think that would be the same for my girls in, a gap year, in going to work, and those sorts of things, that you're never too late to go back to school. That it's not like it's not a race to get somewhere. And so for my girls, if they choose to stay home for a couple years, that's fine. I may not necessarily be here the whole time, right? They're adults at that point. I plan on going and being able to do all the things that I've wanted to do as a parent, but I'm putting on the back burner because I'm busy raising kids, right? So I'll be here to support them and to help them, but I don't intend to be here and be a controlling parent when they turn 18. It's now their life to make decisions.
Right, okay. Do you think you still will be a controlling parent, though? Inside the inside, let's have your idea. Do you think, honestly, you always will be a controlling parent because you've got girls, you know what, because, if a young man comes knocking on the door now and saying, I'm one of your daughter's boyfriend or something, mm-hmm. The questions are going to come out and say, well, what's your name? Who are you? Questions going to come in.
Sure, but I would do that. I would do that with if I had a son, I would do the same thing with a girl. I'd be asking the same questions. Right. I don't think I see myself as a parent that would control their relationships, because I think that always backfires in the face of the parent. I watched it backfire on my parents. Yeah. Right. With my sister, I watched how badly it goes when you put up a stink, and you just drive them away from you, where you have less ability to help them with their decisions. So I think that you have to be a bit more accepting of their decisions and allow them to make those decisions. I don't think just because I have daughters, I will be controlling in any type of aspect. I think that I will provide guidance. I mean, this is what I'm telling myself. What I do in reality may be slightly different, but what I'm telling myself is that I need to allow my girls the freedom to make those decisions so that they can experience things. I think I rant about this all the time, that we as a society coddle our children too much, that we helicopter in and protect them from everything that could possibly go wrong. I'm guilty of this as well. I catch myself doing it all the time. And then I take a step back and I go, no, this is their decisions to make. They need to make these mistakes. They need to be able to go through these things so that they can learn from them. There are coping mechanisms, there's skills, there are, all these sorts of things that they can develop in order to be better human beings in the future by being allowed to make their own mistakes. I constantly reinforce with my girls, and this is something I say regularly, is fail fast, right? If you're going to do something, learn from your mistakes very quickly. Make small mistakes, right, that aren't going to hurt you in the long run, but make sure you learn from them. It's kind of like the Silicon Valley model of business development. Is fail fast. And I think that works from a personal perspective as well.
Right, okay. So if you kind of like, what can I say? So if they went off to college or university or whatever it is over there, what would you kind of be would you kind of like be phoning them every 10 minutes, or would you hang on for a second, this is what dads are like, because it's hectic over the girls.
Yeah, I don't think I would. I don't think I would.
You can't tell me right, okay. Or
remember, I spent 7 years traveling for over a third of the year, right? With when my girls were growing up. So they're very accustomed to not talking to me every day, right? I enjoy talking to them, and I would love to talk to them every day, but I also recognize that they need their freedom, right? They need the space to be able to develop into the amazing human beings that they're going to become. And if I'm constantly involved and constantly putting my fingerprint on everything they do, they don't become them, they become me. And I don't want them to become me. I want them to become better than me. And they can't do that if I'm constantly, forcing them into this box.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I want to do is ask my audience, everybody out there, a question. In the paper today, I'm not in the paper. On the internet today, I was reading that when your daughter's first date happens, did you know the father, not the mother, will 70% out of 100 fathers will go out and follow them on their first date?
Really?
Yeah.
What? Sorry, what was that percentage?
No,
percentage? 17 or 70?
No, 70% out of 100.
Like
fathers,
7-0.
Not mothers. Yeah, 7-0. Fathers will go out and follow them on their first date.
That's one I disagree with. I think that shows a
are you
huge,
one of them? Are you?
No,
are you
absolutely
one
not.
of them? No, look at me and don't smile, because then I know that you're kind of. Are you one of them?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No. My wife would be incredibly angry with me if I did that. It's like that.
Yeah.
There are some serious trust foundation issues there if I went and did that. No, there's no way I would do that.
Okay. Watch out, guys. Your dad's following you.
Can you imagine if your daughter caught you?
Can you
like
imagine
what that does to the relationship? Like it's that's just saying there is no trust here.
No.
I mean, that's a problem that you're going to be paying for therapy for years. So,
well, at the end of the day, you made didn't take over, didn't you? You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
What does the audience say?
So, well, one of them says, Glennie says, "Hi, Steve. I used to follow my children a long time ago when they were younger on their first dates. I remember one of them going to a sweet shop to go and pick some sweets up, and they were both of them was 16 years old. But what happened was I followed them, and I am the mother father. Bill says, "Oh, I followed my daughter to McDonald's the other day. Worst thing ever. I got caught by my daughter. My daughter told me to go back home and get your life sorted out." Um, Roger says, "Oh, this is a good one." Roger says, "Hi, Steve. I will never take my boyfriend back to my mum's and dad's again. They are embarrassing. Over dinner, they ask so many questions. What's the what you going what's the plans with my daughter? What are they gonna do in the future? Um, why are you two in a relationship? Are you using safe yes, you know what I mean? Safety precautions for sex, etc. I had to go to my room, lock the door, and hide myself away. My boyfriend came out, knocked on the door, and said they just asked me something, and what was it? Do you ever? Oh, right, okay, I'm not going to mention that one. But
Ah,
anyway, but can you imagine it? Can you
well, okay.
imagine it? Can you?
So it's a parent's job to be
Ah, see,
embarrassing.
you're
It
laughing now, Steve. You're
I
laughing.
am.
You're laughing.
But I mean, come on. What child doesn't think that their parents embarrass them? There isn't
Oh
one.
yeah, yeah.
Every child looks at their parents and go, God, they're so embarrassing. They're so lame. They're whatever it may be, right? They're square. They're too free loving. They're too whatever it may be. We always view our parents as too much of something, right? So every child goes through that. They see their parents as embarrassing or as crass or as too stuck up or whatever. That's a natural reaction as a child to go through a rebellious phase and want to be different from your parents. I still to this day want to be different from my parents, and I idolize my father. I love my dad. My dad is an amazing human being. I put him on a massive pedestal. But do I want to be him? No. I want to be different than him, right? I want to be better than him.
Mm,
I see the flaws. When you spend that much time with somebody, you inevitably see all of the bad things about them. So it's important, like, that you
yeah.
recognize that as much as your parents are embarrassing, everybody feels that way. When you go over to your boyfriend's house, he's going to feel the same way that he's embarrassed about his parents. You, on the other hand, will probably look
Mm.
at them and go, oh, they're not so bad. The same way he feels about your parents. Because we don't have that deep, intimate knowledge of those individuals. So give your parents a break. But
Wow.
yeah, I mean, there are certain questions that might be a little over the line there. That maybe you could have a conversation with your parents about how far should they go with these types of questions.
Yeah, 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 yeah. We know. But but it does come out now and again, doesn't it? When they
For
go to
sure.
college or university or
Hmm.
whatever, certain comes out. Um, Tina says, "I Steve, I go to UCS. What's that? Is that college or university?
What was it?
I'll go to
UCSF, University
UC.
College of
No,
San Francisco, or
yeah, yeah, that's it. Yeah, yeah. Um, I met a boy there and took him home, and all of a sudden I got question after question. Where did you meet him? What you doing with him? What did you bring him home for, etc. So I said to my mother, "This is what's going to happen. You're going to be quiet while I cook him a meal." So I cooked him a meal. Then we went upstairs. every 10 minutes we were getting a banging on the door. What you up to? What you up to? The dad, my dad barged in and found us on the bed, but not having that we were doing our own work, our study and everything. I felt really embarrassed. What a father. And that was it. Well, all I can say is this: that at the end of the day, if you're when you're old enough, to me, you know, if you're 16, 17, or whatever, and you touch my daughter, then I come up with a pair of pliers and just, you know. But but at the end of the day, you can't. What can you do? It's
No,
confusing, isn't it?
I'll I'll say that I think one, the dad probably overstepped some boundaries there. That's fair, right? He that's
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
there's an issue there. But
yeah.
in that situation, trust is probably a two-way street. So there's some trust building that needs to happen on both sides so that the dad can trust the daughter to not do things under the roof that she shouldn't be doing, or that the parents would prefer she not be doing. And then there is the trust the other way, the daughter to the father, that he's not going to do things like barging in or asking obtrusive questions or those sorts of things. So I would I would recommend that there's some conversations that need to happen there before boys are brought back to the house in terms of what reasonable expectations on both sides are. You'll notice that a lot of these are about communication. Is that communication about all these
Yeah.
sorts of things hasn't happened before the situation is created, right? So if I have a girlfriend and I want to take her home to my parents, I'm probably going to have a conversation with my parents about it before this thing happens, right? I'm gonna go to my mom and my dad. I'm gonna go, I'd like to bring a girl back to the house. Are you okay with this? Can we set some ground rules as to what you think is acceptable and what I think is acceptable? Can we discuss what sort of questions are okay to ask that won't make somebody uncomfortable? Because I want him to be comfortable here, want him or her to be comfortable here, in the house, that sort of thing. It's the largest issue that gets created between parents and children is because of lack of communication. Is assumptions are made, right? And mostly those assumptions are wrong. So both
Yeah.
sides have to take that on themselves.
Are you getting prepared when your oldest daughter, comes back one day with a boyfriend or something?
She has a boyfriend.
You know, and did she bring him back home?
Yeah, he's a great kid. I mean, they're 12, so it's, like holding hands and that kind of stuff. But he's a wonderful kid. I really like him. I have conversations with him because, that's what you're supposed to do as a dad. I treat him as if he's a son, right? I'm kind to him. I involve him in things. I ask him if he wants to join us on things because I want my daughter to feel comfortable bringing, her relationships around the house. I don't want a situation like my sister with my parents where she never brought anybody around the house. So, I he's
Well
amazing.
done,
He's a
there.
great
Well
kid.
done. Well done.
Well, I mean, every once in a
Well
while I
done.
have to practice what I preach, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yes. Well, let's not go there. And follow them around. I reckon you got cameras everywhere in your house, ain't you?
No,
Well,
there are there
you
are
know.
there are cameras on our property, but they face outside, not inside.
Oh, all right, all right. Oh, they don't need cameras inside because you're the camera, ain't you?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There you go. Okay, folks. Thank you very much for tonight. Thank you, Warren.
Oh, it's a
That was
pleasure
quick.
as always.
The trouble is, though, with when you got children, and when they old enough, and I say this, when they're old enough and ugly enough, they can do their own thing, and that's what I say. But when they're
Mhm.
under your roof, there's boundaries that they gotta make. And so what if they bring a boyfriend home? So what if they bring a girlfriend home?
Yeah.
Whatever. At the end of the day, as long as we have boundaries for either side, then everything's all right.
Yeah.
But
We-
watch out for the father, because the father gets jealous a lot, doesn't he? Because he doesn't want his girl to leave home. So don't be like a Warren, all right, and follow him around. Anyway, see you later, guys.
Thanks, Steve. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye. Take care.